I always like to see companies try out new things. Today I got this A10 Pro this company sent out. It mentions it has AMOR AI OS, which is pretty interesting. I'm pretty curious to see what that's like. Now, this goes for under $150, but if you're a Prime member, it's even cheaper. And if there's any issues, you can contact them below here, in case if you actually have this tablet. In the box, you've got all these items, including this little docking speaker. There's 5 magnets up front, and then on the back there is a USB-C port. This is not to recharge it. Unfortunately, you have to have this plugged in order for this to work, so that's kind of unfortunate. I was hoping this would be wireless, running on some type of lithium ion. Essentially, it would be kind of like a wireless speaker at that point. But yeah, this uses the 5 magnets that are on the back of the tablet, and it easily goes on. I know I just slipped that one. But yeah, this easily goes on and stays on pretty well. There are 2 little pieces on the bottom to keep it steady, and this essentially acts like a digital photo frame. So this is kind of something in between a tablet and a digital photo frame. It's still a tablet overall nonetheless, but it's trying to be something different. And I can respect them for that, at least trying, but we'll see how everything is in a little bit. I will say that digital photo frames are a lot cheaper now. You can get them for like half the price of this at the Prime membership price, which is like, what, $99? But anyways, on the front we have a front camera, then there's a rear camera on here, and there is like this LED light that lights up on here. You can enable or disable this. The 5 magnets to attach this onto the docking station. The back is just made of plastic. It's like hollow. I do like the look on top here. It's kind of nice. And I will say these days we're starting to see more tablets come out with a metal body design, so I would have liked to see that on here. On the side we have a volume keys, power button, and on the middle I believe that's a reset button. Usually it's there. A micro SD card slot, USB-C port to recharge it. On the bottom there are 2 speaker grills in case if you don't want to use the docking station, so we'll take a look at this as well. And that's pretty much it. Nothing else on the side here. And this is relatively not too thick, not too thin either, and not too heavy as well. The front camera is alright, just enough to take a Skype call or a video call. Then the rear camera actually seems relatively nice. It's like I take a picture of this Skinny Pop and I can read everything on here. From the logos to, yeah, everything's pretty solid. Nothing crazy, right? Because it's still kind of grainy here, but everything is readable. That's the main thing. Can we read this all the way in the back? I can only read AeroFit 2. Everything else is kind of blurry. So, yeah, good enough to take notes. And I say that in case anybody is going to use this for school. So anyways, out of the box, this screen doesn't get too bright. It's enough to use indoors, but not outside. Why would you want to use it outside? But maybe when the sun is reflecting or something, it's going to be really hard to tell or see the screen. The 2 major problems I have with this, not the screen itself, it's IPS. It's an HD plus screen. I would have liked to see full HD at this size. At the same time, from a far away distance, you really won't notice the difference in pixels after a certain distance, but still it would have been nice if it's nearby or something. It's better to have full HD than not. And this is not laminated either, so keep that in mind. The even bigger issue is that this has 3 gigabytes of physical RAM and 11 gigabytes of VRAM, and they like to combine these 2 things to make it look like it's greater than it really is. So that it's not a total of 14 gigs of RAM, it's really just 3 gigs. So it's really low end, especially with the hardware we're seeing here. Sun 55, IW3PI, all-winner, A523. So something to keep in mind there. It's just really annoying to see these companies just try to push out this narrative that they have this really nice tablet with high specs when it's really not the case. This is kind of a pass for me, technically speaking, because it's got this here. It's acting more like a photo frame replacer or kind of a hybrid of a photo frame and a tablet compared to other tablets which want to act like gaming tablets, but they aren't by any means. They're really low end, and again, this is low end too, but it's good enough to do basic tasks and act like a photo frame. We'll check out some games too in just a moment. And did you guys notice that this has a wideband security of L1? That's pretty surprising. That means you can watch videos at HD on Netflix and other streaming platforms, including YouTube. There's 43 gigs free out of 64, and there's not too much bloatware that comes pre-installed. It's kind of like a similar version of like stock Android, except they do have their own skin added on here. Well, not on this one specifically, but it does get enabled when you have the dock on, which we'll check out in a moment. It's the Scholar of the First Sin. This one is... So there are speakers on here, like we mentioned, and they're not bad. They're kind of tinny, but at least it does exist. instead of having to rely on solely the docking station, which we'll try out right now. All right, so right when I plug this in to the docking station, I get this option to get into the cloud frame, pretty much change the software or the OS like interface. We'll look at this in a moment. Graphics, it's not doing so well. I'm barely getting 1450. This speaker is amazing, incredible. Huge noticeable upgrade. After listening to a couple of songs here, I noticed that the speakers are a little, not tinny, but they're kind of distorted at the highest levels, which is probably to be expected. This is not some type of like high level speaker that they're trying to sell here. It's just supposed to be decent enough to set up as a photo frame. But while I was listening to music, I noticed the LED lights changing on the bottom here. It's kind of a nice added touch to have that LED light on the bottom, especially at nighttime. It does brighten up a little bit more, so that's great. It's really nice to see. It does get really loud though at the highest levels too. Again, I did say it's distorted, but it's not that bad compared to some other speakers that you might see in general. This is better than the tablet speakers, of course, but the highs, mids, and lows are going to be, let's say, average at best. These are pretty neat. I have no complaints about any of them, honestly. To actually use this photo frame, you have to download the AMOR app on here. And yes, it is free. So the steps are pretty straightforward. You just have to connect them using this like code that's going to show up on here. Got to click add friend. And it was relatively quick. That's all that needed to be done. And now I'm set up here. I can now add all of my images from here and send it through. And this is kind of a buzzkill. There's a subscription to send up to 100 photos at once. Only send up to a 2-minute video on here for the free version. I guess it is what it is. I'll take what I can get for now. But yeah, when I tried sending it, that showed up. So I was worried that I wouldn't be able to send anything else. Now the cool thing on here is that you can kind of adjust this as need be. If there's a portrait photo, you can adjust that on there before sending it through. And it shows here that there's a new photo received. And so it'll either show up or I'll just try to go automatically on here. And there should be a couple different features. Yep, you can set it as a screensaver, adjust the photo, fill the frame. Let's see if it'll fit the frame. And it does. That's good. And then automatic versus manual, we want it automatic. And so that's pretty much going to be the digital photo frame here. That's how it works. But that's not all. This is also a tablet, not just a photo frame. So we can check out a few games here and just see what we can squeeze out of this. Again, it's 3 gigabytes of RAM, so I'm not expecting too much, but it should be able to play something like Roblox, right? I will say I just noticed that this is a little warm to the touch on the left side here. But by no means does that mean it's like a safety hazard like it once was years ago. So yeah, anyways, the Roblox here is all right. It's not really too smooth in frame rate. Yeah, it does freeze here and there. So yeah, I don't know. You can kind of determine that for yourself if it's going to be playable or not. I really am going to say not really here on just because if it's lagging here on just a simple like type of game mode here, imagine the other ones where there's like a lot of blasts going on or something along those lines. A lot of like blasting with, what was it, that Naruto game mode or something like that. And yeah, that will be unplayable pretty much. Other game modes would probably be unplayable. Next game we have here is RuneScape, and it's not really definitely not smooth in frame rate when you're moving around. I noticed the lag. You could say this is playable because this is a pretty easy game. It's not like it's graphic demanding or intense, where you have to have some fast motion or quick reflexes. But yeah, it's doing a decent job. And one thing I will say I noticed is that games take a little longer to load on here than normal, and that's not a good sign. Wanted to step it up a bit with PUBG Mobile, which I know isn't too graphic demanding, and I think I have this at the lowest graphic settings. So far, it seems to be running pretty well. And I know I'm just landing here, but I did play a match before and came in first place, so it's possible. You will notice some stutters here and there, though, so just keep that in mind. And one other thing I noticed was that this still works even when it's detached from the tablet. The speaker's still running. Like, the audio is coming out from there, so it's like a Bluetooth speaker, but it has to be wired, so that's kind of interesting. Oh, and I just checked the graphic settings. It looks like it's not even at the lowest graphic settings here. So we can get even smoother frame rates if we wanted to here. So not too bad. But yeah, either way, this game is not too graphic demanding, and it's nice. It does a good job. I think it's also optimized for mobile gaming, so that's pretty great. Yeah, it's great. All right, let's see here if we can get into some action. All right. But yeah, so as a tablet, I will say this is kind of pretty crappy for a tablet at the price point. And for a photo frame, this is just overpriced. But this is both of those combined. So if you wanted to use this for more than just a photo frame, if you wanted to use this as a photo frame when you have people over, that makes the most sense. And then when you don't have people over, you can use this as a tablet for, I guess, watching videos, doing some very light gaming like I am here. Yeah, that's pretty much what this is for. So either way, I do like them trying something new. I like seeing some different stuff here compared to seeing the same old tablet with like 4 gigs of RAM and all this, nonsense and really no improvements. So these guys are doing something different, and I can respect that. But let me know what you guys think. Is this something you would consider buying? Let me know in the comments below, and stay tuned for more as I'll be checking out more budget devices. Thanks for watching.